Hello everyone and welcome again to the SQL course. Let's continue now and understand what are time data types or date data types. Let's check again our Sakila.film so that we can continue on the same example. So let me describe this table and let's see if we have any timestamp or date data types here in this table. So we have two interesting data types. We have here this year, which is something that we haven't covered yet, and we also have here this timestamp. I'm going to select both of them from this table, so release year and also last update. So these are the data types that we still haven't covered in this table. The rest of them we already know because we have already seen small int, varchar, text, also tiny int, decimal, and enum and set. So we've covered most of the data types that we see here. Now this strange year and timestamp we haven't looked yet. Now notice these are two interesting columns. One of them is the release year of the movie. This is a here column. You can have four columns that relate to dates. Time, date, that has the common format year, month, day. Date time, that contains the format year, month, day, plus the seconds and the minutes of a specific row. Timestamp, which has also similar information regarding the datetime format. It's really similar, but only with small differences that are not meaningful for now. We'll discuss them probably in the future. And also the year, which contains a year as the name implies. So here we have a year date type, okay, where we just have a single year. And here we have a datetime with a full date. Now imagine last update, it contains all the minutes, hours, and also seconds of this last update date of the row. So this is particularly important, for example, for transactions, either retail transactions, financial transactions, really common that you want to store a date in a specific row. As we've already discussed, there are certain functions that are more relevant for certain data types. For example, the date diff, which is a really common example here in SQL, returns the difference between two dates. Let's see it. So select, I'm going to do date diff between the following 2019-0101 and 2019-0201. Notice something, I've entered these dates in between quotes. This is the only case or one of the few cases where we put something in quotes that is not a string. Here, SQL is able to interpret, because of the format, that this is a date. So it will be able to compute things on this date. Let's see that. So I'm not going to give a from because I'm giving it directly in the select. And I have the difference in days between these two. This is super relevant because now SQL is able to interpret this as a date type. And as it is a date type, it is able to calculate differences between dates, which are really common operations that we do with databases. We'll also explore more functions like this in the future. Here, just know that the date diff is really relevant for date data types, okay? We can do, for example, the difference between our last update date and I'm going to put here 2020-1-1. And now as I have the last update date, I need the from. So from Sakila.film. Let's run this. And as you will see, we have, of course, the same last update date. So we have the difference in days between the last update and the date that we've given to SQL. So this is extremely cool to use these functions such as date diff. This is only enabled, of course, in date data types or data types related to dates. When I'm saying date data types, I'm saying data types that are related to dates such as date time, date, or year. Let's do an experiment. What if I pass here a date diff between ABC and DEF? What is the result? As you might imagine, it is a null result. This is not supported because you can do a date difference between two columns that are characters, of course. What if I do between two raw numbers? So 2500 and 2502. Will this work? Let's see. We also have a null. This is of course also not supported by this function. So just be aware every time you are working with the function, you have to know how the data type will react or what's the type of data type that's supported by that function. Okay, so we finished. We've covered most of the data types that we have on our Sakila.film. This will make much more sense when we create our own data, but now you are armed with the knowledge of what's the data types that we can use to create our own data. This makes more sense to go and create data when you are already armed with this knowledge, because you'll make better decisions and will be also able to think through this process of understanding what's the data type that we should use. Okay, so to finish this section, let's just understand how we can convert data types back and forth in the next lecture. I'll see you there.